ain't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Invincible Iron Man number 16, written by Jerry Duggan, with pencils by Chris Lees, inks by Walden Wong, and color by Brian Valenza, as well as Invincible Iron Man number 17, written by Jerry Duggan, with art by Patch Zurcher, and color also by Brian Valenza. These two issues kind of come together to tell almost one complete story. Some of you may have recognized I didn't do a video for Invincible Iron Man number 16 prior because, well, honestly, there was a lot of other stuff going on. The issue didn't really have anything just major to talk about. It was really just showing us the unbridled might of the Mark 73 armor, the giant Sentinel Buster. We get to see it lay waste, absolute, total, full-out destruction upon tons of Orcus Sentinels, and it's not even close. He literally is just manhandling all of Fei Long's creations and doing it in ways that I feel are just, like, honestly, it's one of those situations where I almost wish that we had the type of animation infrastructure in the States to do with our comics, what Japan has done with theirs for years, like where we have a comic come out and we have a animated series that literally just adapts that comic. If we had that, I would love, it would almost be like when I read an issue of Jujutsu Kaisen. When I read Jujutsu Kaisen, I know for a fact, whenever I see a fight in that book, I can't wait to see how amazing that fight is going to look when it gets to the small screen, much to the chagrin of the animators who are literally getting their backs whipped putting that stuff out there and being dehumanized and very underpaid for their artistry. But that's another story here or there. I'm not really here to talk about that. But that's basically my way of saying that this issue just looked that good. It just looks so fantastic. But that was really it. Issue 16 is really just eye candy. It's good eye candy. The only thing we really get out of it that is of any consequence is that while yes, Iron Man's Mark 73 armor, the Sentinel Buster, literally wrecks every Orcus Sentinel in the building, or rather in the Outback, but it is still Fei Long's War Machine, his Sentinel version of War Machine, who gets the one-up on the Mark 73, destroying its power source. Now, once we get to the 17th issue of Invincible Iron Man, this is kind of more where the story takes center stage. And basically what we get is that the armor, while it is just splayed out in the Australian Outback, surrounded by all those fallen Orcus Sentinels, Tony is having a bit of a hallucination moment. It's really weird too, because it's very reminiscent of some things that happened to him in the Judgment Day story arc, only there's no weird giant celestial progenitor trying to decide whether he wants to thumbs up Tony or thumbs down him. There's none of that, but I mean, he is seeing the ghost of both his mother and his adopted mother. He is seeing the ghost of his father, Howard Stark, the ghost of one of his former friends and co-workers, Wei, who was one of the very many people that was harmed by Fei Long in an effort to throw Tony off his game early on in the series. We also see apparitions in the form of some of Tony's greatest foes, ranging from Justin Hammer to Crimson Dynamo to Blacklash, and even some other ones that you probably don't even remember, because who actually takes the time to remember some of Iron Man's rogues gallery? They're all pretty samey. There's even a point where he hallucinates seeing Magneto, which is a very interesting moment because you're not really sure whether or not it's the real Magneto or not, or if it's just him seeing things. To be fair, the nightmares he's been having lately, especially about Magneto, they all make a little more sense now, especially if you've kept up with Resurrection of Magneto, because we get a pretty good idea that Magneto is going to show up. By the time you get to the end of Resurrection of Magneto number 4, we literally see Emma Frost pass the message to go help Tony in that issue. So seeing him here, it's like, oh wow, so this is the moment. But you know off rip, especially if you've read that issue, which is why I don't mind talking about it here, that he's not showing up to fight Tony. He's showing up to save Tony. So the fact that he's trying to kill him in this particular moment lets you know this is not the real Magneto. This is just more of Tony seeing stuff. And then eventually we get to the point where he runs into Fei Long. And that ain't no hallucination. That is the real deal Holyfield Fei Long. And in some moments that I don't know if this was Jerry Duggan's intent, or I don't know what was going on here with the artistic license, but I will definitely say there were a couple of moments in here, especially with Fei Long holding that little stick of rebar. It almost kind of seemed like he was trying to channel some Death in the Family vibes, you know, from that old Batman story arc. But you know, the thing here is that the Fei Long is no longer a threat. We know this because Tony has outthought him. Not only has he outthought him, he has outplanned for him in terms of how to fight back against him, being able to defend himself from Fei Long's attacks, even his super-powered ones. So yeah, Fei Long even knows that his goose is cooked. He knows he can't take Tony in this particular instance, to the point where he basically gives up and he's just like, yeah, kill me, because we're done. And this makes sense. If you haven't been keeping up with the greater narrative of the Fall of X stuff, I would forgive you, because it's been a lot of weird stuff going on lately with how they've been running this line out. But basically what you need to know is that Orchis, there were two different factions of it. There was the faction that they let everyone else see, and then there was the faction that only the artificial intelligence of Orchis got to see. This is something I've actually talked about a great deal over the course of maybe the last couple of years regarding Orchis, and I've said it for a long time. The AI component of Orchis was going to come get that ass, and they most certainly have. Now they've officially turned on the human element of Orchis, even to the point Fei Long can't even control his own Sentinels anymore, and he has recently discovered there are even more Stark Tech Sentinels than even he had imagined, and he was the one who came up with the idea. I mean, granted, technically he just stole plans from Tony Stark, but still, the point is, he was the one who was spearheading that whole thing, and if he didn't know how many Sentinels they had, that should tell you everything you need to know about how Omega Sentinel and Nimrod are running the show right now. But the good news is the thing that I talked about earlier regarding Magneto from Resurrection of Magneto #4, it happens, but it doesn't happen till the end of this issue. And here you see a much more happy Magneto, a guy who is ready to smile. He's actually got a little bit of a smirk on his face, got that swagger that Magneto typically has whenever he's helping someone who he just absolutely positively enjoys helping, because he knows how much it's probably going to make them feel small, and you gotta love Magneto for that. He's a petty sumbitch, but I love him. I love him. He must go to Petty University over there with Swoop in them, so I love it. I'm here for it. I will definitely say it's a fun issue, same as the previous one, whereas the previous one was more eye candy. This was more story candy, just kind of playing around. The art, and it was in the first issue with Kreese Lee's on the pencils and everything, that was good. I liked it. Once again, it was eye candy. This issue is a little bit different in style because, once again, you've changed over on artists. And I'll definitely say Patch Zurcher does a pretty good job here. But I will definitely say it is a little jarring after you've been on one artist of the book, and then you get this other artist that comes in. Always throws me off when they bring in the guest artist, especially when it's in the same story. It's like, oh wow, this looks different. I wasn't ready for this. It's still good though. It just, there are some parts where I think Patch Zurcher's art is something that kind of has to, depending on the situation, like there's some moments where I'm just kind of like, I don't know. There's some parts I like, some parts I don't like, and I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm not gonna say that, and I want to make sure I'm clear when I say this. I'm not saying their art is terrible. Just it's not for me. I can say that. Just like how when I draw my own art, my art is not for everybody. So I totally get it. It just is what it is, and we just have to accept it. The sooner we accept it, the sooner we can move on from it. All in all, this issue, it's not a bad one, but it's not like the best thing I've ever read, and I can just honestly admit that. And yeah, that's really the closest things I can say that are like really negative. Beyond the fact that I do feel like, once again, I feel like we're rushing to the end. I feel like we're literally rushing the ball into the end zone without any kind of a, not to say we don't have a plan, but you could just tell. You can tell this is like dutiful intercourse. Danger, danger, danger. Like, this is like, okay, look, we have to get this over with. All right, let me give you a few pumps and let's just go ahead and go on about our days. That's kind of what this whole Fall of X deal feels like, with the exception of Resurrection of Magneto. And like I said, I'll have some deeper criticisms for the Fall of X as we get closer to the end of it. Those of you who have actually been following my channel for quite a while, you know who you are. a lot of the criticisms I've seen y'all say, I definitely agree. A lot of it's been happening. The books have been, honestly, it's at the point right now, I'm actually more interested in what comes next as opposed to how this whole thing ends. That's just kind of where I'm at. Like, Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10, I don't have any problem with. It's the other books. It's like the core X-Men title, the Invincible Iron Man, so on and so forth. All these other books that like are kind of tie-ins of that. I actually wish they would have just done what they did with House of X and Powers of 10. If you're going to have a crossover, you don't always have to have tie-ins. And I think that's what made House of X so special, is that it didn't need any tie-ins. I mean, technically it had a built-in tie-in with Powers of 10, but like, it was just that. It was just those 2 books. This is them trying to do that, but also have several other books running at the same time. I feel like maybe they should have ended it exactly the way they began it, and they did not. You guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.